Oh. Okay, let's see. Okay. Oh. Oh. Just messing around. I was I went live earlier about 5 minutes ago, or went live for about 15 minutes or longer. But I think well, I want to say I had put it on where it would be age restricted, so I don't know if that would have affected the chat, but it was looking like I that the chat wasn't working because I came in to type in some stuff from off the other phone and it wasn't popping up. So if anybody else had tried to come in there, I wasn't going to be able to see anybody's chat. I had to retest it. So basically, I just ended it, and then I was debating on whether I was even going to come back on, but I decided to go ahead and do it. Figured there might be a few people want to hang out for a minute. Which I probably won't be on real long anyway, even if a few people show up. Um, but it just depends. I know that Johnny Scab is going to do something where he's streaming, where he's meeting up with some people. I think him and a few other people are going to be meeting up. Now that's over in England or whatever, but they'll be meeting up at a pub or something. I think he's going to stream that, so I might catch a little bit of that later. That won't be till like 5 o'clock, I think, or something, 5 or 6. And even when if I don't catch it right when it starts, he'll probably have it streaming. Like they'll probably hang out for a few hours, so he might stream the whole thing. I don't know. The Top Hat Club. I don't have a top hat though. Let's see, what was I gonna do here? Uh, oh. So I know I was one of the people there just for a second, and okay, and there I am again. But we're gonna back out, and I mean, I think that's the best thing to do there. Because there for a second, I was actually probably one of my viewers, or I'm probably one of the people watching myself. And then there was a second person popped in, and then it went down to zero. So I went in and oh, I see somebody. Looks like someone's cutting in and out, maybe. Oh, oh. Forgot to be on here for a little while, but I know the chat's working now. So, like I said, the stream I was trying to do about 5 to 8 minutes ago wasn't seeming like the chat was going to be working. So, I opted to end it and then restart. It's been a pretty good Sunday so far. If you are there, right this second, it's not registering. I went to church today. That was pleasant. Had a good time. And they had a meal after the service. Today was now I don't think today was their actual birthdays, but this was the Sunday that they were celebrating two different people that had birthdays this month that are over 80 years old now. So today's meal after the church service was in honor of two different members or two different people that at some point this month have turned 80 or older. So like anytime there's a person that is having an 80th birthday or older over, if it falls whatever month it falls in, they'll pick a Sunday out of that month and they'll have like a birthday meal for the people that turned 80 or older. Oh, hey, David Smith. Doing pretty good, bud. I just saw you chimed in right there. Oh, how are you doing? That's a better question. I was just, really, I was saying that I'm having a pretty decent Sunday. I made it to church today, and, like sometimes I don't go, sometimes I do, but this second week in a row, I've made it, and I felt better about it. And then we also, we had a meal after service, so I was explaining that. Like it was a meal celebrating anybody that's like in each month. If they're like, I don't know how many months we'd end up doing it, but there's a lot of older people in that church. You're doing all right, okay. You know, your name made me think of, like want to say well, it made me wonder if I was talking to somebody I know. There was somebody that I did know at some point with the name David Smith, which Smith is pretty common. So is David. So, I was just for a split second, I was like, I wonder if that's the. No, that's not a David Smith I was thinking of. I was thinking of a different. It wasn't David Smith. It was Mark. So scrap that idea. I was just seeing the Smith and then for some reason I was thinking of a different person and their first name ain't David. So, but I don't know. I don't know how often you might have caught any videos or anything, but there's the puppies there. I've got there's 9 little puppies over there. The old mama dog's taking her a break. The puppies over there have been pretty good, but little big girl wanted to. She's had her little breather from and then but there they are. They're moaning a little bit, but they're doing okay. I figure I'd see somebody else came in here. Yeah, like Smith is common, and for some reason I had them mixed up. Like I said, it's another person with the last name Smith, but they're not. All of a sudden it dawned on me their first name ain't David. I remembered, but I think I did know a David. No, I've known some Smiths though. But yeah, I think another person has joined the chat. I'm seeing 3 people viewing, so I figured I'd flip. We'll kind of like every so often I'll flip around and we're not going to disturb them or anything. They seem to all be pretty well doing all right. And then we'll show you a little big girl again. And the other dog is in the living room right now, sitting in a little chair. So, but yeah, they seem all right so far. They were born last Saturday, so yesterday would have been a week. So probably I'm figuring by the time the next weekend comes around, they should have been starting to open their eyes. I haven't seen a sign of it yet. Like, I hadn't really paid attention, but I don't think their eyes are even, I don't think any of them have. I was thinking that usually takes about 2 weeks. You'd think I'd remember. But I'm figuring between now and then next weekend, their eyes will be probably opening, and then they'll move around a little more. And then going into the 3rd and 4th week, that's when I'll have to start really hustling, getting up every morning and wherever I have them at, moving them so I can clean up their messes and getting all that settled. That's how I'm going to have to be dealing with stuff for a few, at least several good weeks after they start moving around, until they're old enough to hopefully find homes for. And then that's the big deal, is like, how soon am I able to like place them? There's 9 of them. Hopefully I can have a few people take a few off my hand right off the bat. But that's just part of, part of the situation of not having the animal fixed, or necessarily having the means to get it done like I wanted to have it done. I had hoped to have her done before she ever went into heat the first time, but it kind of caught up with me. Now, her mom I never did get fixed, and she ended up having 3 litters, but over a 5-year period, there was multiple different times that she went into heat that she didn't get pregnant. So I did all right on keeping her, like, kind of when she'd be going into heat. Now, there was 3 different times she got out and it happened. But because of that, I had intended to get this one. And I've done repeated myself enough about that. So the big kicker, and anybody that's watched me for a minute knows this, the big kicker here would be the other dog that's a female, that she probably we might have another month or 2 before she starts cutting up. But I don't know for sure. So the best thing I can try to do is this coming week, see if I can get her looked at. Because from what I understand, I have to have her first office visit. And then they're going to probably want to do an ultrasound on her because she's a female. Like before, that's what I was told anyway. They want an ultrasound. They want to look inside, look at the womb, make sure that the insides are all right before they go in there and do anything. Yeah, I'm kind of looking around. There is something in Alabama where certain people, like when you buy your tags for your car, you can opt into like some people opt in to have a special tag, and it costs a little bit more, but the extra fee goes to uh, uh, it goes to like a fund that is specifically to help people that are on a fixed income or food stamps and stuff, like disability or food stamps or Medicare, and they don't have a lot of money and they have pets that need to be fixed. So there is that, and uh, supposedly the closest vet that is nearby is part of that program. So you still end up having to pay for it, but it keeps it from being, you know, from what I understand, like instead of like having to pay almost a couple $100s to have a female fixed, it would be 40 or $50 if I sign up and show that I'm on disability. Now I don't know. I'm gonna try to figure it out because it's kind of crunch time. I don't need the other dog going into heat while I have other puppies that I'm having to try to figure out about. So like if I could get her done, I'd be real happy about that, and then just focus on trying to get the puppies taken care of and on to like find homes for them. Then after all that's said and done, this dog here that just had the puppies eventually have her fixed. If I've said this before, if I didn't live out in the middle of nowhere and didn't, like not having a vehicle and then being out in the kind of like the boonies, sometimes like getting some of this stuff done is a little more aggravating. But I've just told myself the past week or so, I've been really just talking myself, saying that I don't need to make an excuse, just get it done. I gotta figure it out, which would be just kind of maybe, once maybe like if I get paid Wednesday, call and see if I can set up taking the dog over there. I don't know if they'd let me bring her over there that day. Like because the day that I got paid, it'd be pretty good because I could pay for. But see, that was another thing. Like they were talking about, you got to pay for an office visit, and then it's going to cost for the test that they want to run, and then that's not. And then you still got to end up coming back with the dog to have it fixed. So I don't know. I feel like I'm rambling on about the. Oh, I hear you. Like I just I haven't had a vehicle in years. I had a DUI back in 2003, I guess maybe. It was right at New Year's, and it had just turned into the next year. But I never drove again. Like I have drove a few times, like some friends' cars or something, like they needed somebody to drive, like get a vehicle to a certain spot. Thanks for that heart, whoever did that. I seen it. Hello, hello. And that's the first time I saw that. It's good to be here. Good to be seen. Since you just arrived, I figured we'll flip this around again. Of course, I know you've seen them. I'm not going to get up and get over there close to them, but I figure they're all huddled up right there. And I seen the hearts there. And then we got, oh, yeah, look, and there's once again, we're going to show off little big girl. She is, she's taking a break from being up on the babies, which that's common. You know what I mean? And then Biddy is in the living room. Okay. Yeah, and me and David were just talking. I was talking about how, of course, I was talking about how I've mentioned this before, that being out kind of in the middle of nowhere, and then, kind of being out in the middle of BFE. and not having your own vehicle and stuff like that. Sometimes getting some things like in my mind, I think if I drove, I would have probably already took my own self with my vehicle. Like if I had a vehicle and I drove, I would have done got my dog into the vehicle at some point one month when I got paid and to wherever I needed to go. But that's neither here or there. And then when you only have a handful of people that even have vehicles, it sounds like I feel like sometimes I'm making an excuse. Yeah, she's a good mom. Well, she spooked me this morning. I had lit her out. You know, I'd gotten up and was starting to I was figuring out what pair of pants I was going to put on for church and stuff like that, and getting kind of like freshened up. And she needed to go out, of course. The other night she made some messes, but she hadn't got sick. That I couldn't hold nothing against her on that. She don't mess in the house, but she had like diarrhea or something. She was trying to get out and get it done, not in the house, but some of it was coming without her say so. She didn't. So she got out this morning, and it kept getting closer to time that David was going to be here to pick me up for church. And it was like 5 minutes before he showed up. She finally showed back up. She had been gone about 45 minutes or an hour, and I was starting to get worried. Yeah. So I was kind of... Now, I don't know. I went live about 20 minutes ago and stayed on for about 15 minutes, but I think I had something messed up I think the chat wasn't working. But I think I had set that particular live to be restricted. I can't remember if I did or not. I was going to start being mindful of that sometimes maybe I need, but I think that when you do that, I might have, if I had it like that, it might have, that shouldn't affect the chat though. All restrictions would do was that if someone was underage, they wouldn't be able to come in and watch. Because there's sometimes... What are you talking about? What is that? What are they thanking you for a ride? No, that's not a regular. That's the. That's a resin or like a. Oh, you're talking about the David that gave me a ride. Look, that went right over my head, y'all. I got it now. I got what you're saying. Okay, yeah, Ange. David ain't the person. The David in this chat ain't the person that I was talking about. Okay, see there for a second, it caught me off guard because I saw that she was. Thank you, David, and I was like, well, who did David give a ride to? Yeah. Anyway, David. This is not like a nicotine. I actually hadn't smoked tobacco in a while now, and I pretty much kind of there for a while. Like I never really bought a lot of tobacco, but I would smoke it, and then occasionally I'd buy it because I got tired. I don't always like bumming, but no, okay. But I try to be mindful, like hitting this, it don't look that bad. I don't want it to pop up. A while back, I had made a little short, and like it had a picture of 4 different psychedelics in the background and me making a goofy face, and I didn't think nothing about it. But the AI picked it up as if I was trying to promote drug use, and so I was like, Okay, since September. What? You have some Red Bulls hybrid. Oh, that's the name of the strain. Is that what you're saying? Oh, say, well, no, I was saying though, yeah, that's what I was wondering. Are they talking about, okay. See, when you first said Red Bulls, I was like, does Red Bull, like in some states, does Red Bull do a THC drink? But anyway, I figured it out. It's a strain. Okay, yeah. That sounds interesting. Oh, that's cool though that you work in the industry, David. Yeah, see, there's a friend of mine that I hadn't talked to in a while. I think I still have his number. Uh, he's somewhere. I can't remember where he is. He's not. I'm trying to think what state, but he's in a state where he's been working for an actual growing company, like an industry. Like it's somebody that's been growing for a while. Like, because he showed me some of their operation and everything, the thousands of plants they had and all this stuff. But anyway, I remember I've had different friends go out west and stuff to states that have been legal and everything sooner and and like work on different farms and stuff, doing a lot of trimming and stuff like that. Some of them did pretty well with it, and then some, talked about the downfall of it too. From what I understand, it like if you're not careful, which it sounds like, anybody could easily do that. You could get caught up in being too ecstatic about what you're doing, and maybe you smoke up more than you don't make a profit because maybe you smoke more of your profit. Okay, so you've done a lot of stuff. Yeah, in Colorado, it's been pretty legal for a while, hasn't it? What I would like, what I'm hoping to, hopefully maybe, I'm hoping this year to come across some psychedelics again. It's been a while, a few years. Oh yeah, Colorado. Yeah, they were, weren't they? The first to actually do it for recreation. There's plenty that have done it medical, and then after Colorado went for recreational, it's been steadily changing in a lot of different areas. Yeah, I've seen some videos and stuff on that nowadays about people talking about. Uh, and then also, David, I saw something recently about that. There's a lot of different strains, but a lot of them almost are very similar by the different Some of them, it was something like people not sticking to some of the same terps and all that different stuff that goes into it. Like a lot of the companies using some of the same different things in their enhancement and so like even if you got a lot of different strains, you're not getting that much different variety in the way it makes you feel. And that made sense to me. So, but I have to do it on a budget. So, like a lot of times, I'm just smoking something that's to some people might be swag, but it just if it gives me, if I get a good head change and I'm calm and collective, or I particularly like it when I get some that gives me a little bit of a creative thought process too. I understand that. Well, why wouldn't you? If like if you're growing it and you're doing good at it, then why? Like if I was to grow it, I appreciate you guys being here. Okay, in 2007 it was for the med, and then 2013, yeah. So I had a friend telling me about going to, like, he was all excited about, hey, Nature Girl, what's up? Yeah, I didn't know if you might still be working or something. A lot of people, like, I figured you might be, I didn't know. But yeah, we're just sitting here talking, chatting. We talking about green. We were discussing bud. Uh, I'm doing pretty good today. Went to church. Like I said, we've been discussing. We were talking about bud and stuff like that. And David he was talking about he's in Colorado and he grows. He works kind of in the industry. I figure I'd give you a shot at the puppies right there. We'll come back around here and show you the little big girl. She's on the bed. She's giving herself a break. Although there are a couple over there moaning, but they moan in their sleep anyway. I think David's still here. But yeah, David was talking about that. Ange had shared something about smoking on some something called Red Bulls, and it had me confused for a second. I thought they were talking about the drink, and maybe they lived in some state where you could get a Red Bull with a bunch of THC. It's just the name of a strain of flower. So we got all that settled out. We figured that one out. Yeah, Nature Girl. I figure, like, every time I think that, like, every time someone new pops into the chat that I haven't noticed before, I like to flip the camera around, Like, even if it's somebody that's already seen the puppies, every time someone comes back in, they might be interested in seeing it. It's something to do. What fires are you talking about? Oh, making chicken and sausage gumbo. It's raining here in Central Coast, California. Oh, Ange. Okay, Ange. You see, I'm learning something else again, Ange. You remember the other day, Ange, when Mike Maranatha was in the chat, and I hadn't even realized that he was in Louisiana. I forgot about that. And he said sometimes maybe people see the LA and they get confused, which I know the difference in LA. Like, it would have been like LA and then the initials for California. Anyway, I was trying to remember who it was the other day that was in the conversation that was also from Louisiana, but I'm now catching up that you you're in California at the moment, and you're making some chicken and sausage gumbo, but you're from Louisiana. So I'm putting all this together as I'm reading all your different. So I guess, Ange, you're not near the fires. That's what I think that's what David was asking. Are you around the fire? Oh no, wait, Nature Girl was asking that, and y'all done solved that. See, I'm slow, ain't I? Yeah, y'all done answering each other's questions, and I'm still here trying to. Okay, yeah. So, see, I didn't catch that the other day, and I don't know if you even mentioned that. I know that you mentioned being from Louisiana. That brought, then Mike Marinetta brought that, and then I was like, whoa, I've known you for over a year, and I didn't even realize. But that's cool. I like to kind of know where everybody's at. I don't know. I don't know if David's still here, but I know David's in Colorado, he said. We're supposed to maybe get some rain here in a little bit, or sometime maybe into the night. I think that when the chance starts, it starts off at a 20% chance. And then as we get later into the night, okay. Hey, it didn't matter, David. I was just trying to say, sometimes people will be on here. Like I know myself, I can be on a stream and walk away from it for a little while. Like if I have to go do something, just let it run in the background. That's the cool thing about streaming. You can do that. We're just talking and chatting, so it'd be easy for someone like if you're like I've had several people that come in and watch the live streams when I do them that may even be at work sometimes. Like they'll be at work and I enjoy. What I was going to say is, me too. Yeah. Um, but the past few live streams that I've done where we've, there's been a couple this week that went really cool. Like, a few days ago, I did a live stream. I don't remember what time of day it was, but, I was talking about ley lines and stuff, like the lines they say that go around the invisible lines, supposedly, where like if you were to follow it all the way around the circumference of the earth, certain spiritual power points throughout the geographic areas would fall along that same line all the way, and they're all over the place. But we were talking about ley lines and portals and just interesting, like kind of different things that like I'd seen a video about something earlier in that day, and somebody that came into the chat for a second was one of the people that had shared that video, so that brought up that whole. So that was a really cool live. We went on for a while just talking about a lot of different the topic went from that kind of stuff to just living life and stuff. Like what was cool is Red Snapper, which he's not here right now, but Red Snapper, who was in the chat, knew about ley lines and everything because they live in a town that's about 20 minutes away from Stonehenge. So like he's grown up in an area that was real close. Like he grew up right around Stonehenge and stuff like that. So that was pretty cool. And then I lived in New Orleans for a little while briefly when I was like 25. Lived on the streets there. Okay, yeah, David. Oh, I appreciate it. Oh, they're whining more. Little bit, or she got down there to be with them right now. That's probably why they're whining. They're all still sitting over here. You see, she's over in the corner right here. She's a licking on one or two of them. Then all these over here are like, they're starting to move around and move. They probably noticed that she's over there and that stirred them up. I might get up here in a second and move them over there to her, but I imagine that's what it is. It looks like two or three of them are still kind of like pretty laid out, and then there's a couple of them moving around. They're just, it's like funny. What are you talking about? You had a few friends there that, me personally, I like snow, which we had some about 2 weeks ago, like a good bit that stayed for a few days, and then it finally got washed away. Now, Alabama, another part of Alabama this past week got some snow. We had a little bit of flurries that day where in other parts. Now, like 2 weeks ago, we got like about 6 inches. The other day, it snowed pretty good in a certain part of Alabama, and all we got was a few flurries. Give me a second. I'm going to see if I can get them. That's what it is. Hold on, baby. Hold on. Here you go. Get that one baby in there. Get that baby in there. There you go. There you go. Here, you want to go over here? Go right there. Yeah. Okay. We got that taken care of, I think. Oh, excuse me, y'all. Yeah. What it was the one that was really carrying on there was underneath the cover, so it was trying to find its way out, like from under the cover. Not really yet. That's what I was talking about, because yesterday they were just a week old. So, right before you came into the chat, Nature Girl, I say, hold on, it's fun. It sucks, but it's all. I've known it's fun to drive on. Oh yeah, you talking about the snow, David Smith? Or so what I was talking about, the puppies. No, that was what I was telling my neighbors about the other day. That when I'm looking at them, they all look pretty well even. Like there was one maybe between yesterday and today that I caught a glimpse of that I thought could be maybe a little smaller than the rest of them, but as far as I can tell, they all seem about almost the exact same size. I figure usually there's one that's really big and one that's really small out of all of them. All of them seem to be pretty much the same average, like length and girth, or thick, like fatness. So sounds like I figured, I might not start noticing any one particular eating more than I figure when here in another few weeks, once she starts trying to wean them, and then I'm trying to give them dry food and stuff, get them used to eating, then you'll start noticing there might be some that tend to eat more than they need to. I might have to be, because there's so many of them. I don't need them all. Like some of them will go too quick at it if you don't watch it. So no, I don't see a runt that I could call a runt yet, which I think that's a good thing. It's kind of unusual, isn't it? From as old as I am, most dogs and cats that I've ever been around that had litters, at some point, like I said, at least one of them is a little, usually like the one that you go, That's the hoss. Then you got the one that's the smallest and might not be getting as much to eat or just don't put on as much weight. I always saved her from her mommy who was trying some things I could not watch. So I rescued him 18 years ago. Whoa, man. Yeah, I mean, like, look, I'm going to flip it around. You'll see, like, just look at them, really. I'm going to get up and get closer. You see how they're all, you can't see them as well, but if they were all laid out there together, you'd be able to, you can kind of tell they all seem about the general same size. That's kind of a good sign, really, that they all like, no one is more bigger than the other and no one's smaller. They're all pretty, they all seem to be starting off about at the same starting point. Okay, what is this? His name is... Okay, so David, you got a... okay, Dunkel, or is that Dunkel? Dunkel, yeah. And then, so the name that you go under on here on YouTube is the name of your cat also, is what you're saying, Ons? Is that right? Like your handle here is the name of your cat also? Or the cat that you rescued? You know, I'm trying to catch up with this. So the cat, if you rescued him 18 years ago, so the cat's that old? That's a pretty old cat, isn't it? Okay. David has a purr friend. Oh. Oh, German word for dark. Okay. That makes sense then. Because the black cat. I had a black cat one time that I named Trip. Because I was tripping a lot at the time. I was messing with morning glory seeds a lot. And so I was kind of new to them, but I was experimenting with them. And I had this awesome cat. And she would more like she'd follow me around like a dog. And like if I got too far ahead of her, all I had to do was whistle. She'd come to me. Little petite equals teat. Oh, okay. Like a little, okay. Little angel in Cajun French. Okay, cool. That's awesome. Now I have a little better, context to, because I remember you saying the Ange name, or Ange, Ange, however I'm saying it, was French, Cajun or whatever. Oh, your cat's still a tiny little runt. So what is today for Sunday? You know what? Let's see. Hold on. Okay. Sorry about that. I see that it didn't really affect it. I had to turn off. Okay. Yeah, Nature Girl, something has been a little weird. I don't know, although I gotta say that the past 2 weeks have been a lot better for me than the previous 2 before that, but yeah, the days seem, I don't know. I know that days are getting longer already, but it still seems, it's still about this time every day. It's still getting dark early enough that it throws me off, and then I feel weird. Like my sense of timing has been weird too. So I don't know if it's a okay. Well, whatever. If we don't see you, nature girl, it'd be cool. Tend to your neighbor. I don't plan on going anywhere just yet. Everybody seems to be having fun, so. Okay, you got to go too, David. Yeah, David, have a good one. It looks like I'm gonna stay on just a little longer. We might we've had a pretty good run here, so you take care and have a good evening, man. I hope to see you again sometime in the chat. Just look for me. I go random different times. Sometimes I've went early in the day. Sometimes I do. Sometimes I'll do one like midday and then one in the afternoon. Sometime in the morning and then one in the afternoon. Sometimes I don't do them at all. Is it buffering? Let's see. But I'm here as long as somebody's here anyway. And I don't know. Nature Girl said her neighbor just got there, but she says she might be trying to come back. Okay. I wondered if maybe you're just now catching up. Like, because I did cut out for a minute, but that's been about 5 minutes ago. But it could have just now been catching up with you buffering. And then sometimes, like the other day, we'd been going so long that we were almost at 2 hours and something started glitching. Okay. We were like getting close to 2 hours, I think, and something was glitching. And I remember I just took that as a cue. I think that's when Red Snapper was on here with me. The guy that lived, well, I'm assuming they're a guy, but that they live near Stonehenge. They were on here and we were like having a really good talk and talking about all the interesting, like I shared a little bit about when I lived in the woods and stuff and first started going by the name Grey Cloud and everything. And some of the different weird stuff that I've seen that I don't really talk about, openly too much, just because, some of those things, there's nothing I can't prove some of the stuff I've seen and experienced. I just know that it was real. And if I hadn't experienced it, I wouldn't, believe it either. Yeah, Red Snapper, he's another newer subscriber. And they were here the other day, and that's one of the interesting chats that we had. And it was cool because when I brought up a certain topic, they knew about a little bit of it, and then that's what led to them telling me where they live and stuff like that. I got to, I'm friends with them on X, and then they came to the channel from there, like they followed a link and subscribed to me here recently. But what I was saying was we had been going for a while, and the stream started doing something where it was like, it was buffering and doing stuff like that on his end. And I assumed, to me, I took that as a note. Like, I was like, well, maybe that's a sign to get off here. We've been on here at that point, I'd been on there for like 2 hours, and we went over a little. And I thought, well, maybe after a certain length of time of being here, going live, it might start glitching just because I've been on there so long. Which it shouldn't, but there is that possibility, I guess. So sometimes, like here in a little bit, we're still going. If it starts doing that again, I'm going to take that as a cue that maybe it's time to end it. But right now, I'm having a pretty good. I'm excited. I appreciate you and anybody else that comes in and watches and communicates with me. It means a lot, and I've said this before. There's been several times I've went came live on here, and it turned out there was somebody out there that you know, was able to catch the live and come back in and chat with me, and they were needing that day. Like they just needed, like they were glad to see, you know, at the right time I was going live, and they needed to come in and talk to somebody. So that was pretty cool. Yeah, technology, like, you know, it can be a detriment, but it can also be a very like useful tool. Like for me, even though my videos aren't like elaborate or anything, making videos and trying to keep up with doing content, because there are people starting to take notice and that do watch fairly regularly, even though it's not like a lot of people. But you know, people like you and Nature Girl, like that I see pretty regularly in my comments. And then if you are able to catch a live, you're usually here. So it's about building a community, you know, where y'all can feel connected just as much as anything, you know. Well, like I think there's a piece of that light that comes through, you know. There's a piece of Christ that is working its way out in its own way, because like there's some ways that I present things, I think that some people might come and find it easier to you know, some people have an issue with certain topics, but I think some people come and might see my videos, and maybe a way I present it or I talk about it, it might open their mind to you know, to exploring the idea of our Creator, and in a better way of things. I'm just messing. Starting to get a little. Let's see. I guess I'm getting a little nervous. Not nervous, but just kind of. It's always like that when after we've been on here for about, like, we're approaching about an hour, and then I just looked at the time and it's like almost 4:30, which is not a big deal to me. It ain't like I'm gonna jump off here and have immediately something to do, but I do think I'm gonna try to. I'm pretty sure that Johnny is going live around 5 o'clock, and if I could be wrong. He does have it up. He's meeting up with some people. Yeah, that's cool. I've got to add a few more. You know, I'm behind on some of the. There's plenty of videos that I've done since the last time I updated the playlist. So I do need to. Now that you mentioned that, that's something that I need to be working on, is going back and seeing the last one that I put on the playlist, and start off with the next one that I did. Because, you know, like if you go back through my playlist, I haven't consistently done every day. For the most part, I tried to, but there's been sometimes that I read the devotion that day to myself, but I just didn't do a video, which I think that's fine, you know, like, but I've been on a streak here lately where I don't know the last day that I didn't do a video that was a Jesus calling. I at least have done for a good string of days now in a row, a few weeks worth of every day. I've been pretty consistent on a Jesus calling video. Maybe in the past few weeks, there have been one day that I opted not to, and I really didn't do much of anything that day or something. Well, I don't have to get going. I just thought that, you know, like I happened to look at the time. I realized it's getting a little dark looking outside, and that just makes me it reminds me that, you know, that I did have something also that I was thinking about doing here in a little bit. But all that was going to be is when I get off of here, whatever time it is that is between before my friend's live stream, I was just going to kind of kill a little bit of time, and then and then maybe catch when he goes live, which I won't probably be in the entire thing because I depend on. Sometimes he'll be streaming for a couple of hours, and I've already. Like we've already been doing, I've been on here already. Like one day this past week, he did a stream, and I could have actually been. He had shared a link that anybody that wanted to come in and be a guest, like pop up on there and like talk to him. I could have shared. I could have went in there and been like on his stream as a guest or whatever. But I'd already streamed like two times or three times earlier that day on my own. So by that afternoon and that evening, I just enjoyed being in his chat. I was like, you know what? I was there. I supported it, talking. And I stayed in his chat for about an hour, a little over. And then I got off because he stayed on. They put on some old movies or some weird stuff that him and other dudes were watching, like talking about, doing commentary. I want to try to get a schedule going where, people can kind of like have an idea about when to find me on doing live streams. Like, it'd be nice if I could kind of pinpoint like a specific day or two a week where you could know for sure that at this time on this day, I definitely keep to it. Like set a schedule. It's fine if I do a live stream every single day, even 2 or 3 of them. But it'd be nice if I figure out a day or two that seems to be the best option. And then if I don't do any more for the rest of the week, at least on those days, that's when I do it. But that seems like too much work. Seems like a lot of, like I was looking at trying to maybe move towards being where that sometimes my videos would be more professional looking and all that. And then at some point I realized, I think what draws people, now you can tell me if I'm wrong or right, I think what people like about the channel is if you watch one of the videos or you do catch me on a live stream, you can kind of see that I'm just me. Like even on video, like I think when I'm recording my videos, there's an authenticity that comes through that the few people that come about the channel, that's why they do continue to either, occasionally watch it, or those are the people that like you and some others that are pretty regular in the comments because there's something about it. And that's how, for me, a lot of my favorite channels are people that, whether their videos are fancy or not, they connect to their audience on a certain level, and that's what matters to me. You got some big channels that do live streaming, but they don't really acknowledge the audience that much. But I imagine if you were at a certain level where you got thousands of people in the chat, it would probably be impossible to try to keep up with all that. Well, I'm not trying to brag. I'm just realizing I think that's what draws people to it is I think that if I put too much work, like I think if I put too much thought into my videos, like nothing's going to be wrong with when I do get a better setup and able to do some like more extensive work like editing. But what I was thinking is at one point I was envisioning going up a notch and doing all this stuff where I've since realized just keep it like it is. Keep it simple. If I get better equipment and I can make better quality videos, there will be a time and day for that. But I think what works for this channel is just being real, like just hitting record and going with it, like so. Well, but I don't know. Thank you. I also enjoy being able to get to know about the people that do find the channel interesting, or me. You know what I mean? That's also a nice thing too. It's cool when you like, because you've asked me questions before. There's been like the other day, Red Snapper. That's what he goes by. The guy from around Stonehenge. He asked quite a few different things, and it was really cool because it kept me busy, kept me from thinking that I was just sitting here babbling. You know, like he was just inquiring about different things about my life. Like, for instance, he was curious if when I was homeless and stuff at times in my life, if it was it because of drugs or alcohol. And I said, no, I don't think that was necessarily the reason. But like, I don't think that ever led me to being homeless. Like, almost every time I've ever been on the street, I just chose to be on the street. Income or no income, you know, it didn't matter. But he had questions, and it was cool to be able to answer them. It showed that he generally was interested in just my character, or you know, the person in front of him on the on the screen. But I think it's interesting that there's quite a few, you know, like earlier, like you're out in California, but you're from Louisiana, and then you got like a nature girl. I know where she's at, but I won't talk about it because I don't think she mentioned it herself. But then you got David, where he's in Colorado and stuff. Just all the different people that come from different areas of the country. Not to even mention a few of the people that come in here that are in a whole nother country, like I said, Red Snapper, you know, near Stonehenge. So that's like over there, you know, some of that pretty land over there where Stonehenge is, and the countrysides and stuff. But so yeah, I think I will end it. It's been nice being here. What I'm going to do is get off here. I'm going to step outside for a second. It's not completely dark yet, so I'm going to step outside in my yard and just kind of get some fresh air for a second, and then I don't have to worry about making anything to eat because we had a dinner after service, and so I was able to bring some of the food home that, you know, there was leftovers. So I have stuff that I really don't need to be eating right now. I've done ate enough, but I don't have to make anything. All I got to do is, like, you know, the to-go container, open it up, grab a sandwich out or something like that. Yeah, you have a good evening, and I'll be live again. You know, I'm sure I'll be live several times this week. I can't tell you exactly when, but I've been enjoying going live anywhere from at least once a day, if not 2 times to 3 times, just depending on what the day's like. And it helps to boost the channel, and it gives view time to the channel. Like, each person that comes in and watches adds to watch hours, which once you get to a certain amount of watch hours, you know, then that's when you might have the opportunity to get monetized and stuff, which that'd be another probably couple of years worth of grinding here before that happens. So you have a good evening, okay? And yeah, I'll say goodbye to. Look, she's all knocked out. And ditto, 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 ditto.